What is up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. We got Joe Kampert here from unknown to unforgettable.
Woo.
Let's get this. I'm super excited. This dude is real special treat for sure. He monster in the insurance space. We're gonna talk about scaling through social media and building brand awareness. And so definitely listen up, because this dude knows how to run Facebook groups. He knows how to build brand awareness through social media. So definitely listen in. But Joe, welcome to the podcast, bro.
Dude, thanks, brother. Thank you for having me, man. I think literally I've found one person who's younger than me, and
Right,
it's you. and I love it, man, because I think that's where entrepreneurship really starts. And I love, that you've been able to tap into that entrepreneurial fire, and then you're already trying to give it out to the masses, man, to the audience. So I love it. Thank you for having me. Definitely excited to get into it.
Yeah, dude, totally. So kind of talk about how you got to where you're at, because obviously you're in the insurance space, like murdering the scene, but I know that's not always probably how it started. So talk about kind of how you got to where you are today.
Yeah. So I will say, and then we won't talk too much insurance specific, y'all. So get ready. But for me, I am the one dude who literally wanted to be in insurance my whole life. And I think, that goes across the board. And I think a lot of the reasons why people are in the position, whether that's occupation, financial, whatever, it's because of their role models, right? And so for me, I always want to be like my dad growing up. My dad was in insurance. So therefore, it was crazy. Fast forward 20 years later, I'm in insurance. But it definitely didn't start that way. Just because I had that around me, you obviously can't be a second grader in insurance, So for me, man, it just started with really, and I will say I was blessed to have parents that really, instilled this in me and really kind of held me accountable to it. But it was the work ethic, man. I've had a job since I literally was in second grade. I had a little paper route. So I did a paper route. I would mow any yards and cut grass as much as I could on my street, as far as really I could push the mower as far as I got, because I was pretty small at the time. Ran a farmer's market. So I worked from third grade all the way literally until I got into insurance. My sophomore year, when I made my exit out of college to do insurance full time, I ran a farmer's market, and we were the largest farmer's market in Indiana. So I grew up in Indiana. So it's a very Indiana thing for sure, right? We just had a huge farmer's market, and I worked for Zeck's North Carolina barbecue, man. And I think that right there, talking about the entrepreneurial spirit and where I think it really first kind of clicked, at least the sales piece. Anybody in sales, I think you have that moment where it's like, oh shoot, okay. Zeck's North Carolina barbecue, man. And how we would get people in the door was, hey, we got free samples, pulled pork, free samples, pulled pork. How often you get free these days? To get them to come take a bite. And then it's like, oh, it's amazing. And guess what? We sell by the pound. And then we would sell the pulled pork, and then we did like snow cones, all that stuff.
So you were doing sales like that when you were younger, or like how young were you?
Literally when I was in like third, fourth grade, man. And so we did farmers markets. We'd go to like Renaissance festivals and 4th of July fireworks shows. I was selling funnel cakes and stuff like that. And then I was in construction. So that was, I think where work ethic was really tested because construction, we were renovating old homes in Indianapolis. And so my job was, I was the grunt. So you name it, I was doing it. I was up in the attics, pulling wire, running new wire, doing grout, tile, into the crawl spaces, digging trenches to the sump pump. I mean, all that stuff. And that's, I think a lot of that I was able to apply in businesses, man. Those mornings when you don't want to go down into that flooded crawl space and it's freaking hot and you don't want to do it, but you still do it. Why? Because it's your job, right? And because ultimately, I think I've learned over time that there's more to it than it just being a job, right? And I think, I've definitely been able to see you do it, even in the short time period I've known you, tapping into your why. Like, why was I even down in that? And persistency and consistency and everything you kind of learn from doing the things you don't want to do, but you do them, right? And that's kind of my upbringing, man. I've been working, and then really insurance was like, dang, I don't have to be up in a hot attic, and I can sit at my desk and still make money and help people. And I think that's really where I think people win in business, is when you're doing it to help people. There's tons of industries out there, man. And as long as you have that servant mentality, it comes back tenfold, which I'm sure you're feeling that on the life side, I'm sure.
Oh, totally. So what was the main thing that drew you into insurance? I'm curious because obviously your dad was doing it. What about insurance like really drew you in?
So I was just talking about this yesterday on another show, and it was my first boss, Tracy Bibb. I remember her, and it was funny. Really, what drew me into insurance was it wasn't school, and so the only reason I even started in insurance, it was hilarious. The reason that I was able to, or that I was going to be able to get into this business scholars program for college is the same reason that the school lost me and I went insurance full time. I had to have a summer internship, and so
Okay.
I had to have that, a paid summer internship to basically get into the scholars program to make my degree look better when I graduate in 2 years.
Yeah.
And so I go to St. Louis, got a job with Tracy Bibb. She's right over off Chippewa and Hampton. If anybody's watching this from St. Louis, go check her out. And that was the first question she asked me. Why? Like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, man, that's a great question, right? And I was 19 at the time.
What kind of
And
insurance?
I worked for Allstate. So I started with Allstate. And actually, I was customer service for my first year and a half in insurance,
My
right?
gosh,
So really talk about that servant mentality. But she asked me, and I said, man, my three reasons. One, now I'm on the property and casualty side. So again, I won't get too much into the weeds of it, but I was illegal not to have. Like if you had a car or a house, you had to have me. So I love that. I thought that was very recession proof. Two, I freaking love to help people. Again, in the short time you've known me too,
sir.
you know my heart, man. Like
Yeah,
I'm a yellow to the max. I love helping people. And that's what really is my passion. That's why I love to coach. That's why I'm very involved with our youth and trying to impact future generations, all that good stuff. That's why I love this podcast that you're doing, showing that, hey, it ain't ever too early to start, right? And to get out there.
Seriously.
There are young people resonating with your message. And that, man, dude, I love to make money. And I was
Boom.
like,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
recession proof. I love to help people. And dude, I can help people and make money. Like this is freaking amazing. And yeah, so that's where it all started. She offered me a full-time job at the end of the summer. And I said, man, I really don't like school. I was playing college lacrosse at the time. Division III. I don't typically, I just say it was NCAA. I don't talk about Division III or anything, NCAA affiliated. And I was like, man, I really, I've only ever just gone to school just cause that was what I was supposed to do, quote unquote. And man, I said, screw it. And I dropped out. I didn't flunk out. People who say that, like probably everybody at school thought I flunked out or I got kicked out. It's like, no, I dropped out and took on a full customer service position job with Allstate. And again, that was 8 years ago now, which is freaking crazy. I'm coming up on 9 years.
Nuts, dude.
Yep.
That is nuts. So talk to me about, because it's really cool that not many people like follow in their dad's shoes in the way that like, I think it's really cool. You had a dad who was an entrepreneur.
Yep.
And talk a little bit about that, how much of an influence that made on you and some of the things you really took away from him, like that you picked up, because a lot of the things we're taught sometimes aren't good, but I think that him being an entrepreneur, you probably saw a lot of characteristics that you just picked up just by seeing.
Yeah. And and it's funny that you say that. So it's a little bit, he didn't have that spirit until really when we started Redwood. He was corporate his whole time. So he was he was on salary. Now, granted, he was really good at it. He was doing management and all that. I was always on the other side of things. I was in the agency doing the sales side, that type of stuff. He was like territory leader, all that good stuff, winning leadership awards. And I remember I was getting ready to go that route. And because I was getting burnt out, I was still working. I was working at a new scratch agency, helping this guy start up, doing everything. And I will say, anybody listening to this, man, when you're going through hell and back, I promise you there's invaluable experiences that you're learning through that. I call them it was my best, worst boss, right? Where it was horrible. I had to like bring my own coffee to the office. I did all the marketing, all the sales, all the service, and it wasn't even my name on the door. And again, I freaking despised it back then, but now looking back, dude, oh my gosh, I learned so much in that. But yeah, I was getting ready. Hey, starting salary was like $75,000 a year. I got to train new agents, which I was really good at. Company car, company phone, very comfortable, right? We hear that a lot.
Yeah.
And at that exact same time, I was on a trip talking with the person who knew the chick who was interviewing me and basically was like, I'm going to put in a good word. It's pretty much yours, right? Well, then at that exact same trip, I had an agent who I met totally incidentally, and he offered me a job too, but starting back at the bottom in his sales organization, not going the corporate route. And I remember like dude, what? Like, no way. Like, what am I going to do here? And I go to dad and I said, man, I don't know what to do. What should I do? And I
Yeah.
think if you don't have somebody in your life like that, look for that, right? I hope that
Dude,
you do.
seriously, having a mentor, having a coach,
A
somebody that you
sounding
can look
board.
up to, seriously.
Yes. Yes. And so I asked him, I was like, man, what should I do? And he goes, man, the Bill Gates of this world were not made in their comfort zones. And I was just like,
Oh, shoot,
I was
dropping
like, God,
bombs,
I was like,
baby.
dang it, dude. All right,
That's
fine. Looks
big.
like I'm going to start at the bottom. And then do the rest is history. But where the entrepreneurial kind of, once I saw that with Pops, and I think this is important with anybody who's getting in business, not only with family, but also if you just
Yes.
have a partner in your business, this is very important. We are so complementary of each other. And Pops had, he was making well over 6 figs, same thing, company car, company phone, doing really well, had a savings, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Dude, he scrapped it all to come start Redwood with, like, we were like, dude, we've always wanted to do something together. I was going to leave this agent. I was going to start my own agency, ended up not. I'm like, he didn't. And dude, we just literally started from ground zero. And, again, I think this was something that was very important is the foundation of the agency was, what are our strengths? What are we really good at? What are we not good at? And I think that was very important is that a lot of entrepreneurs will get the jack of all trades, specialist of none type mentality, right? Where you're trying
Dude,
to do
yeah.
it all just because I'm an entrepreneur, right? For
Yeah.
me, it was, dude, what am I really good at and what am I bad at? And it turns out dad loves doing everything I hate to do and I'm not good at, and I do everything that dad hates to do and isn't good at. And it's been a beautiful symmetry there. And I think that's a very important conversation to have, especially when you're about to get into business, whether it's family or not, especially if it's family. Anybody getting in business with your family,
Yeah.
hash it out, because you're going to have moments where it's like, okay, we're business partners, but we're also, that's my dad too, right?
Yeah, bro. That's what I was about to add. That's what I
Yeah.
was about to ask because you went into making your own company with your dad is a business decision, but
Yes.
I
Yep.
think that's cool being able to find a business partner that balances you out.
Yes.
It's like I know that having a business partner that's good like levels you up to higher
Yep.
levels. I feel like I'm still in that process of trying to find that dude because I feel like it's like, dang, this is my baby I'm trying to create right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't go to the heights that I want to without somebody. But it's like that requires a lot of trust, to be
Yes.
honest. Like,
Yes. And I would say too, there's different levels of partners. They don't always necessarily need to own half your business, right? Or whatever, like,
are
especially.
you guys 50-50?
Yes. Yep. So we go, and I really, even before then, when I came in, no, like, not at all. That's all him, right? I'm not doing any of that. And that was, well, there's a couple of reasons for it. It was like, hey, if shit hits the fan, I've got a fallback, like, where it's like my name basically ain't on the paper type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and really it was the overall goal, right? Like, one of our MOs is we want to be 100-year business, right? Like 100 years from now, my kids' kids are going to be talking about how great grandpa Joe and great great grandpa David started Redwood, and it's still impacting lives, right? 100 years from now.
Yeah.
And so that was the goal, was, hey, dude, like, eventually this is all going to be mine. And that's, I love, this would be a perfect segue for this, taking pay cuts, like not paying yourself, not doing, like, not, only taking half of what you bring in to put the rest back into the business, if not sometimes more than that,
Oh,
to tap into that long-term vision.
yeah.
That it's, hey man, it ain't just about now, and it's definitely not just about me, right? Like, I want
Yeah.
this thing to change, the generation. I want it to change the family tree, and you got to be selfless to do that, 100%.
Yeah, another thing I was gonna ask you is what made you want to like grow the vision of like, hey, I want this to be 100-year agency and not just like grow this for 10, 15, even 20 years and sell it.
It's a good question. One, it just really went with our name, Redwood, because redwood trees last forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember
There's,
you
yeah,
hearing that on another podcast or
yeah,
something.
they're super strong. They last forever, and that's what we want for the business, but also our relationship with our clients and their kids and all that. I'm really big on legacy. I'm very legacy driven, and I think that's probably it. I'm extremely legacy driven. I have 2 kids myself now. I've got a 3-year-old daughter and a 7-month-old daughter. So girl dad,
Jeez.
rocking it out and building this business and doing what we're doing. Happily married as well. And for me, it was, I'm so driven by youth, right? And that, those are our future leaders. And I think,
Yeah.
again, I was very blessed in the way that I was raised, even though, again, going back, even though I
Yeah.
hated some of it, like, and man, it just would drive me up a wall. Looking back, I was very blessed in what I was instilled when it comes to morals, all that good stuff, values.
Yeah.
Um, and dude, there's a lack of that in our youth community.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's definitely part of it is, dude, I want to change lives, but I want to change the youth lives. I want to change underserved communities, all of that good stuff, under everything really. And
Yeah.
I think the only way you do that, the only way you really make that change is you have to tap into this ain't about me, man. You know, it's not, I'm going to take care of mine. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, dude, when I'm 6 feet under, it, like, you know, that what was the saying that everybody said, like, you don't take a U-Haul to your funeral, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
that, what
It's
am I
true.
leaving behind? And I think
Yeah.
it's way more than just a dollar sign.
Dude, totally. That's gold. How could people reach out to you, even like if they're loving what they hear right now, like how could they reach out to you?
Yeah, hit me up. So I'm super active on Facebook, which we're getting ready to get into that for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
Part of like why I do really well on Facebook is because I talk about this stuff on Facebook. Like, don't be shy, guys. But yeah, hit me up on Facebook, Joe Frazier Kampert. May take me a second. If you friend request me, you can always message me. I check my messenger request. I'm maxed out on my file. I gotta do a purge. And then also the Insurance Syndicate, which, you know, that's my baby. That's my Facebook
Yep.
group. We've got over 4,500 members in there, growing every week, man. And that's where I spend a lot of time. Again, helping other people, cultivating
Yeah.
a culture where it's like it is
Yeah.
an abundance mindset. It's a collaboration and networking mindset to help one another. So yeah,
Awesome. Yeah,
Insurance
that's
Syndicate.
one. Boom, there we go. So go follow him if you haven't. That's awesome. And you got the merch, bro. That's
Yep.
awesome. I
And
love
dude,
it.
if you scan the QR code, I don't know if you guys can scan
Oh
it from the Zoom.
shoot.
It'll take you to the group.
Dude, that's fire. Are you gonna be wearing those 8%?
That's why I made them for last year, and I had 50 people walking around wearing them because everybody's like, "What is the syndicate?" And then I was scan the QR code and find out. So
Oh
that's a good
dang.
little tip. Good little tip for social media.
That's good. So yeah, so you've definitely like been a monster in the social media space. I think you're one of our industry's leaders for sure.
Thank you.
But just in terms of growing a business, scaling through social media, what are some tips that you could give to people? Like, I think one thing that I've really loved is that you're like super active in Facebook groups.
Yep.
Like literally, I'll be going through Facebook and I'll see you comment on literally like almost every post.
Yep.
And so I think it's grown. Even like as I was like analyzing and thinking about it this morning, I was like, I feel like you've grown to become like an expert in my head because you've educated and you're there. Like I just see you all the time. Like there's a lot of that, and I think that's really cool. But what are some tips that you can give to people who are trying to grow their business and brand awareness through social media, and how you personally were able to do that?
Yep. 100%. You touched on it, and we'll circle back around to it because I got a couple pointers first. Lead with education, though. Education and value, right? Like the reason you even have that subconsciously in your head is because you're like, I'm out there to educate and bring value, right?
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what makes people want to do business with you. But we'll circle back around with that. First thing first, like on the brand. Well, actually, no. First thing first, I always lead with this. If you want to scale on social media, you got to have social media. Like, so download Facebook, and for me, I'm heavy Facebook, right? So, but a lot of these strategies can be applied across social media in general. There's a few kind of nuances, tweaks in there depending on the platform. Obviously, TikTok is going to be a little bit different than like Twitter or like Facebook, right? But they're all really powerful tools if you use them correctly. For me, I chose Facebook. And I've spent years in there really kind of building out, learning the algorithm, all that good stuff, which we won't get into that because that's probably a whole episode within itself.
Yeah, totally.
You know, have social media, right? Be willing to be vulnerable on social media is a big part, right? Show people who you are, which leads me to really kind of the main point. You are the brand, right? Like people don't do business with Redwood. They do Joe, and Joe is backed with Redwood, right? And so for me, when you're trying to scale, that's what starts. Now, again, once people get enough of a taste of who Joe is, Redwood is just now associated with Joe. But I am not branding. I'm branding myself as Joe Frazier Kampert. And then I just have the backing of everything with Redwood, right? And that's how I think that's how you really build. And that's how you build the audience and everything like that on social media. Dude, people aren't doing business with just like a logo, right? They're doing business with us because of me. And so anybody that's listening to this, brand yourself. right? And with that, that means stop posting all the time on your business page, which is great. Okay, now again, this is Facebook specific. Don't the business page, unless you're putting money behind it, you will not go anywhere. Because what does Facebook think? It's a business. What are businesses supposed to have? Money,
Money.
right? So it's like, if you're not putting money behind it, you'll get no traction, you'll get no reach. Now, it's okay to promote your business, but promote it from your personal page. Okay. And that's so we'll actually get into some tangible action items right here on just how I do it, just my structure. And it can be more than this. I do it probably 10x what I'm about to tell you, but this is a great starting point. So really just kind of the structure of how you post, right? And so I call it the jab, jab, hook. Basically, it's the whole goal.
Baby.
Yep. Hey, and the whole point of the jab, jab, hook, right, is to get traffic. It's to get traction. It's to gain audience. It's really to gain followers, we'll call it. And then you're shown, once you gain the audience and the traffic on your page, then you're talking about the business, which is your hook, right? So jab, jab, right? Use some fluff posts, use some, I typically do like comic relief in the morning. And so, I post anywhere from like 7 to 8 a.m. is kind of where my prime time posting is. Some people say there's not prime times. For me, that's when I've always gotten the best engagement. So I stick by it.
And you post just comedy, like funny things?
Just comic something, or like any type of engagement post. But like I love doing like funny memes or something like that, because that's like when people are first starting their mornings, they're not trying to talk about insurance, right? And so you got to kind of be strategic. Like, and what's the first thing? It's hilarious. And my mom is like, this was years ago, but like she was the perfect, like, we'll say avatar for me because of when I was posting. Because what's the first thing my mom does before she even gets out of bed, dude? She's in bed. She picks up her phone. And what does she start doing? Scrolling. Right? And how many other people in America are freaking doing that before they actually start their day? A ton of people, right? So that's why I post then. It's before they maybe get to work, or maybe they're just getting to work, but their day hasn't officially started yet. And I'm starting it with some entertainment. That is a key thing with Facebook. Anything social media, it is there for entertainment. So the more you keep them on their platform, the more Facebook, the more Instagram, the more TikTok, whatever is going to favor you, as far as, we'll call it relevance, is what Facebook calls it. It's basically going to put you in front of more people because you're keeping people on their platform, right?
So just your posts in general, right? It doesn't matter if it's like, so because if they engage more into the comedy, right? They're gonna, when you post about your business, they're gonna be like, oh, it's not gonna.
Exactly. And so then I'll lead with like comic, or maybe even like an engagement post, which these are some of my favorite. And you can mix these up between what I'm going to talk about, what I post at lunch. You can interchange them. Gauge your audience. That's the other important thing. Test what's working. If when you're posting and what you're posting isn't working, just pivot, change it, right? Try something new. But for me, I love like engagement posts, like the one I had for 4th of July. It's like people know what I'm doing and they still can't help themselves but to comment. And you've seen them. It's like, okay, you get to pick 3 out of the 15 for your 4th of July barbecue. Which 3 would you pick? And they've got to pick like coleslaw or brisket or pulled pork or hamburgers or hot, whatever. And they know what I'm doing and they still can't resist, dude. It's like a nice comment. And then what you do, here's a really good one for social, really organic strategies. Say I get 15 comments, right, of them saying whatever they want. Well, now I'm going back through. God, don't leave it at that, right? Go back through, re-engage with those people who already were engaged by the post and be like, oh man, I knew I liked you, bro. Like those were my 3, right? And then guess what? They're going to comment back. Well, again, go back to Facebook eyes. Facebook is like, dang, you got people commenting on this. The person who posted it is going back and commenting through, and those people are responding again. I'm keeping them on the platform.
That's
right?
really good. That's
15
really good.
comments just turned to 30 comments. Now, anybody else scrolling, like, oh man, there's 30 comments on this. It might push them to comment a little bit more, to where then that's really how you're starting to build traffic in the morning. Lunchtime, guess what people do on the lunch break, right? Like, and don't hit them. Like, I know people, I try to go anywhere from like 11:30 to 12:30, depending on, time zones. I'm in 3 different time zones, business wise. So it's like, you got to kind of play in the middle. What are they doing? They're sitting there, they're eating, and they're scrolling, dude. And that's, so you try to hit them right there. That's when I typically do like a sentimental post. So I'll do something about my daughters or my wife, or just something I'm doing with family, because I'm very family oriented, and I'm doing that Why? Because people relate to that, right? That is something that, hey, in the middle of their day, like that can be something that can push somebody the rest of the way through, right? When I tap
That is
into,
so
oh,
good.
hey, like when I look at this picture of my daughters right here, right? And there's tons of other people that can, again, relate, resonate with that. And again, that's keeping them on the page. Now I'm getting a bunch of likes there. Now, here comes the hook, right? So now you know that you've got people liking it. You've got people that are, Facebook is going to put your next post in front of people. Now, here's where people fail. You do it well, and you need to be doing this every day, right? Or at least you need to try to be doing it every day, because well, now granted, this is specific to insurance, but like life changes every single day. And really, this is for business in general. Dude, people are more susceptible to buy different things or make changes when life changes. When you have a kid, when you buy a new house, when you, whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter the industry. People are going to be more willing to make that change. If you only get one like, don't give up. And that's what I tell people. It's not that they didn't need you. They just didn't need you right then. And that's why you do it on a daily basis, because guess what? Life changes every day eventually. And I just had,
so what do you post? What do you post in that third, as that third post? Like what stuff?
So very, very business oriented. I keep it very professional. Every once in a while I'll have some, like maybe some comedic, like redwood tag something, but for the most part is here's what we do. Here's the states that we can do it in, right? And maybe here's like a review from somebody we just recently helped. And then I give them a way to reach out to us. And so drive them to the website. If you guys don't have a website, I promise the website is what changed everything for us. We have a really big website, but I don't take any type of information over the phone. I maybe will do a quick introduction if somebody wants it, but then it's like, hey, fill this out, right? And I think any type of intake form, again, outside of whatever industry you're in, it streamlines workflows and work and processes. And for me, it's go fill this out, so then we don't have to do a bunch of back and forth, or I don't have to spend 45 minutes on the phone call talking to Miss Betty about how, she was at the pool with her granddaughter, which is all good and fun. But I want to, like, if you're expressing intent to work with me, I want to make sure I get everything up front that I'll need. And I promise you, it increases your buyer intent. And it helps things from slipping through the cracks. And so again, that third post, and I'm doing that probably 4:30 to 5:30, right? So 5:30, it's, hey, they're just getting home from work maybe, but they haven't started dinner yet, right? Or maybe, like there's still things going on, but like they're able to kick their feet up real quick before the night starts with their family or something like that. 4:30, maybe they're not off work, and hey, anybody watching this, and I promise you, I'm a culprit here too. It's 4:45. I clock out at 5. Man, it's slowed down. I'm still at work, but what am I doing? Like I'm scrolling, yes, man. It's like, man, I only got like, 10, 15 minutes left. So you're catching them right before they do get home. And that again is it's business oriented. I try to do that towards the end of every once in a while I'll do that at lunchtime. Because sometimes you'll find, just like the morning, nobody wants to wake up and talk to me about car insurance, right? Same times at the end of the day, if you have a really rough day, you do not want to talk to me about car insurance, right? But again, that just goes back to do it every day. Do it on a daily basis. Do it as much as possible. It takes 15 minutes total to do it. And I promise you, if you stick with it, if you're consistent with it, those 3 things right there, dude, I mean, game changer. And that's just on your personal page. Then you start getting into the groups, right? And working the groups, leading with value and education. Don't go solicit. Don't go spam somebody. If you can comment and provide insight and advice, do it. If you can't, keep scrolling. Don't. Like just go to the next one, right? Like there's no reason, you haven't given them a reason to even want to do business with you yet. And so for me, I do a lot on the trucking insurance side, and I'll go in and I'll help them actually start their trucking company before I even talk about insurance. And then guess who they hit up?
Nuts, dude.
Hey man, like you helped me with all this, dude. Can you do my insurance too? It's like, matter of fact, I'm a trucking insurance specialist. Yes, I can. Right. So that's a big thing. And then insane. My last bit here, and I'll shut up. So the reason you're doing everything on the personal page, right, is to, once you start getting into these groups, and y'all, there's a Facebook group for everything. If you're in real estate, there is a real estate freaking group all over across the board, man. If you're in solar, if you're just in sales in general, there is a group out there where you can gain business. Again, lead with value and education. And then guess what solidifies that value and education you're doing in the group? Hey, let's go view his main profile. Let's see oh man, like, dude, he's got 2 kids. like, oh man, like he plays softball, or like, oh dude, like they see you're human. So it only validates you in the group if you're doing the same thing on your personal page. Again, giving them something to relate to resonate with. And
Yeah.
that's, dude, that's it in a nutshell. The people that
Wow.
where people
Yeah.
fall off is they just don't do it enough, right?
That's so good. That is so good. I'm gonna be doing that more, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I think it provides value to a ton of people. I think for me personally, I was trying to understand it more because I'm so new. I just started getting on Facebook.
Yep.
It's funny, on the Ultimate Agent, there's a part with Facebook, and I was like, dude, I'm not. I'm young. Like none of my friends are on
What are you,
Facebook,
21?
dude. Yeah, dude, I just
Yep.
turned 21. Like on the Ultimate Agent, dude, I literally was 20 and I turned 21 towards the end.
That's
So it's
awesome.
like, but I'm like, I just posted on Instagram, but then I was like, what I'm gonna do actually, because a lot of my business like partners or whatever are on Facebook, and
Yep.
there's a lot of valuable content on Facebook for what I do.
Yep.
So I started getting on it, posting more, but then I just easily connected my Instagram and Facebook. So whenever I'm posting on
Exactly.
Instagram, it's automatically posting twice.
Yep.
So that's what I've been trying to do, which is awesome. Um, so I know you talked about the forms, sending them to your forms and
Yep.
having them fill that out. Um, is that with just somebody inbound coming in and being like, hey, I'm interested in what you do, and then are calling or whatever? You're pretty much just sending them, hey, fill out this, and I'll
Yep.
get you the information that you want.
Yeah, for the most part. Here's the other cool thing too about, especially within groups, right? Again, I know this is Facebook specific. You can also do it in LinkedIn. If any of y'all are active in LinkedIn, I'm starting to get over there. I actually had a virtual assistant that was actually working my LinkedIn, getting me more connections, all that stuff. Which, if you haven't tapped into virtual assistants, dude, get one. They're freaking amazing. We
Yeah.
have multiples, and they're a huge, piece of our team for sure. But for me, the form, one, I use it again just to streamline. So yeah, if it's coming in, hey, I'll do a meet and greet. Hey, perfect, man. I'm getting ready to send you a link. Please fill that out. As soon as we see that come through, a team member will be touching base with you when we've got final quotes, numbers, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Now here's the cool thing about the groups, right? And really the link, just really social media in general, dude, it lives in there forever, right? So we'll use my trucking group specifically, but again, you can do this in any type of group, even just your website, right? It allows people to go check out who you are to then potentially fill out a form to work with you. I had people, dude, like I'm talking almost a year later, that people are searching and they find me in the group, and guess what? They didn't want to call me because of how old my post was. So, but my link was there. So they just clicked the link and filled it out because they wanted to work with me, but they didn't want to feel like a creeper and reach out to me directly. So they just filled
Yeah.
out my quote form. I see it come through. We reach out, and I remember his name's Babatunde, and he's still with us too. And the guy was like, dude, honestly, it really looked like you knew what you were doing. I saw that you were helping tons of drivers in there, and I'm starting my business, and I wanted to work with you, but I didn't want to come off like a creeper. So that's the cool thing, is that, those links, dude, they live in the groups they don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Another kind of keyword here for you guys. Well, technically, it is literally a keyword. We call them trigger words, just because I now admin a ton of groups, so
Yeah.
I see it on the admin side. But there are keywords and trigger words where if people are using that search feature, they'll be able to pull you up, right? So for me, if I ever am talking, if I'm giving insights, if I'm giving advice, I'm not asking for the insurance quote. I'm just saying, hey, being in insurance, I see this all the time. Here, do this, this, and this. Well, I'm typing insurance in every single one of my responses, right? So being in insurance,
Okay.
I'm not spamming, I'm not soliciting, I'm still providing
Yeah.
all my value and education. Well, when somebody goes to the group and types insurance, guess who pops up? Like, it's like, oh my God, dude, there's like 150 posts from this guy. He must be in insurance, right? And it's me just saying, being in insurance, right? So then if they ever type insurance, it's going to pull me because of that being in my
Wow.
comments. So that's
Yeah.
a very powerful tool.
That's so good. So, dude, we could have charged for this, dude. Seriously.
I probably
Uh,
should, I probably should. But
do you
that's
have
my
any
heart.
do you have any do it for you type programs?
I do them for free, man. And it's getting to the point where I have enough people reaching out. I should probably start charging. But I also think there's something with that. I was talking with Pops about this, and insurance, the syndicate group is blowing up. I just started a new group this week.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in a bunch of groups. I admin a bunch of groups, and for me, we were talking about it. He goes, dude, I think you're winning because you're the only one that's not trying to charge for it. And for me, it is my heart. I've got to be careful because sometimes I will go too far for the other person, right? And it literally is like to my detriment almost, because I'm like spending a ton of time not recouping any of that, right? Whatever it is. But to me, it's, dude, when you have that servant mentality, and this again this applies to every single business owner listening to this.
Yeah.
When your heart is in it for the people, when your heart is there, like when it's, man, you know what? Screw it, dude, hit me up and we'll do, like, I'll have people schedule Zooms with me and I'll literally pull up their page and do a full makeover. Like, just, I would do this. I'll go find groups for them to join based off of what they're doing in business, like their target markets.
Wow.
And for me, again, dude, it always comes back tenfold. So right now it's like, I'm just going to keep doing that, man. To where, when you lead with that, again, it's so, everybody calls it cliche, but it's not, man. Like when you lead with value and education, like, dude, it all comes back, man. It turns out everybody needs insurance. It goes back to why I started. I'm like, you all need it. So, and then it's like, man, Joe's really cool, dude. We should probably get insurance from him. And I do that outside of insurance because I think these social media strategies, they apply across the board. So.
Wow. Well, I for sure have to get one from you. I'll pay you, dude, for sure. But if you guys definitely want to grow your social media, this dude knows what he's talking about. Talk about some of your success stories and why you are a credible source for this, because you definitely are. Yep. But I know that. But tell people why you actually have credibility to actually talk about this.
Yeah. So I'll try to stay away from insurance as much as possible. But again, I mean, that's, like, the reason I'm talking about it is because, like, that is how I've trained my social media to be, right? It's a business tool. We're driving revenue. And so really, here's the cool thing too. So we recruit, obviously we have a traditional insurance, like we write business, but then we also have a recruiting model where, we're given access to contracts, all that good stuff. Right. And so Facebook has been all of that, which has been really cool. When I track all of our numbers and all of our revenue and everything, dude, it all somehow sourced from a Facebook group or a Facebook Messenger or something. That's like all of our agents and all of our relationships have literally started from me, like, finding them and creating a relationship on social media. And it is possible. Crazy. I know it's virtual, but you can if you're real with it. But just so in the past 18 months, we have had, really, with some of our carriers, we've had more, but I would say on average, we've had about 400% growth in production in the past 18 months. We're writing almost $1 million of new business premium every single month. We've gone from, and seriously, this has all been in the past 18 months. We went from, I think we had 6 people in the organization total. And that was like some of my in-house staff. So we had like maybe 1 agent that was with us, to we're over 60 now. And so we're blowing up. Dude. We're not slowing down. We just added another 3 agents in the past week. And man, I tell you, it's been a ride. We're hitting promotions. We're getting sent on trips. Like we're going to Nashville. We're going to Cleveland next week. And it's just been an amazing ride. And I think my last tidbit here is, it started with, because I did it first. I think that was very important. When I was in production, I was cold calling anybody that's broke. Here you go. All right, I'm pivoting here. I'll give you guys this one too. Anybody that's broke and all you can afford is a list of names and numbers, I promise you can do it. I don't care the business that you're in. As long as you've got a good intro, dude, I'm telling you, a good intro with a solid value proposition, dude, you can cold call and it will still freaking work. And I almost prefer it because not everybody and their brothers freaking calling them the same time I am, right? And so when I started, dude, we were dead broke. Like we literally didn't, we started scratch. We had no idea what we were doing. We had no guidance. We were direct to the company. So it was pretty much, here's your appointment. Best of luck to you. Right. And so we learned by making tons and tons of mistakes. And for me, the cold calling, that's all we could afford. And dude, the 1, 2, 3. And this is what I did every day. And I sold my first year as an independent agent. In our first month, we damn near couldn't figure out how to make our phones work. So yeah, if you're starting a business, make sure your phones work too. That one was fun. I was like, damn, we can't figure out how to get them to ring out, man. This is rough. Just having to use the cell phone and stuff. But for us, it was, I wrote 1.2 million in premium my first year off cold calling, literally. And so we used what was called the 1, 2, 3. All of us did it here in the office. And I still live by it to this day. Even if you're still in production, you're getting referrals. I would still implement some outbound cold calling, whatever you want to, age data leads, whatever it is. And that, again, all businesses have those types of prospects and things that they could buy.
Yeah, totally.
100 phone calls a day. Okay, so 100 outbound dials a day, 2 hours talk time. So at least 2 hours of total talk time, or 3 policies, 3 accounts, 3 deals closed. 2 out of the 3 have to be done every day. Okay, so again, 100 calls, 2 hours talk time, 3 things closed, right? If you do the 2 out of the 3 every single day, it all follows, right? So it's the activity. I'm sure you've heard, John Whitmore talks about this a lot.
Totally.
Just do more, dude. Just do more. And that 1, 2, 3 got me to where I was writing anywhere from 50 to 75 to pushing almost 100K of new business premium in a month. Off of just dialing, man. So again, if you don't have the money, I use Data Man Group was what I used for anybody out there that maybe, and they've got lists for everything. Go check them out. They're dirt cheap. I think I got like 15,000 names and numbers for like $800 or something like that. Run them through a do not call scrubber and just hit the phones. So,
dude, that's wild.
If that gives me any credibility, I don't know.
so, and also the trucking group, you like that. I think that's huge as well.
So this is, we don't have time for that, but we'll get it.
Maybe, it's funny story. This is actually how I found out about you, because I remember hearing of you and like different stuff. But then I was like, okay, I'm just going to listen to a whole thing, like segment of what you like, because like, I just kept hearing your name. I'm like, bro, what is this guy doing? He's young, he's hungry. Like I can tell, and he's a basketball player. So I was like,
come on,
I love it. But I was like, dude, what did this guy do to like get onto the 8% virtual stage? So I just listened to it and I was like, I get it now. I get it now.
So in a nutshell, I won't go too deep into it.
Yeah, just real quick.
So it all starts with that leading with value and education. So y'all heard me talk about how, I would go in and actually help these people start their business, or even like, hey man, this keeps getting rejected by Amazon. I do a lot of Amazon drivers. Like, this keeps getting rejected by Amazon. What's going on? And I'm like, well, it's got to be this limit or this limit. Hey, I know they suck at responding via email. I've got their direct line. Being in insurance, I deal with this all the time. And I would just give them the phone number to call. And turns out, hey, they pick up when you call. You don't have to wait on an email, all that good stuff. I did that for probably almost a year, man, of just getting in. And I was still getting intermittent business, like people messaging me like, hey, can you quote my insurance, all that good stuff, which is fine. But where it really took off.
Quick, how did you even get into that group?
Oh, okay. So when you join groups, be honest. It was super easy. So I literally just found a group. I just found it. I saw that it was growing. There was, at the time I joined, there was 33,000 members in there. We're pushing 60,000 now.
Wow.
We're way more picky. We've like refined the group. We were getting a lot of spam and stuff because we were growing so fast. But just be honest when you join. So I told the guy, hey, I am not a truck driver. I am a trucking insurance specialist. And I promise I will never solicit. I will never spam. I will never DM. I just want to be here to help drivers. And I got approved and I got in. And that's where it all started. And then again, almost a year later down the road, the admin, the guy who created the group, started to take notice. And he goes, man, this guy's like really helping some people, man. And it seems like he knows what he's talking about, being in insurance, all that crap. And so he, in a comment, tagged me. He said, hey, you should work with Joe. Joe, blah, blah, blah. Like, he seems to know what he's doing. Well, then the admin when the admin does that, people trust the admin, the founder of the group, right?
Yeah.
So then a bunch of people start hitting me up. And that was just the start. Then the admin needs insurance. So then he's like, dude, hey, I need insurance. I'm like, oh, and I wasn't licensed in Minnesota at the time. I literally went, got my Minnesota license, had my carriers within a week. And I said, Prince, I got you, bro. And so I quoted him, helped him. And so then now, dude, when he goes and another post, hey, you need to talk to Joe. He did my insurance and he's awesome. Work with him. Well, he did it at like 9:00. And like I probably had like 30 to 40 quote requests. Anybody watching this, maybe that's an insurance. Trucking is a whole different ball game. I mean, it's a lot of information and it was just flowing through, man. Like, I mean, just because he made that comment that, hey, he did mine, you should trust him. That then probably another month or two later, he reaches out to me and he said, hey, Joe, we're getting 12 insurance requests daily. Pretty much on a daily basis, there are 12 requests coming out of the group saying they need insurance, they need help with insurance. How would you like to be an admin of the group and the insurance specialist? And I said, Prince, say less. I said,
Yeah.
100% I'm in, bro.
Oh my gosh.
To where now
bro.
I'm an admin. I've got total control. I can literally boot anybody, so there's no other insurance agents in there. It's totally my group, and I've got the trust of all the other admins, and they back me, and I get all of those requests technically even before, if it's my day to approve the post. If there's an insurance request, I can decline, and the reason for decline is that a specialist is going to be reaching out to you to assist. So it doesn't even hit the group if maybe an insurance agent slides in there and I miss it. It doesn't even hit the group anymore. It comes directly to me.
That's insane. So I don't need pennies on the dollar, but how much would you say that group has helped you out, like just commission wise?
Dude, insane, man. I mean, I would say with renewals and everything, definitely six figures, like guaranteed for sure.
That's nuts, bro.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Nuts.
Like there was a point in time. Now, granted, we had some like staff turnover and stuff, and then we really went gung ho on the recruiting side. That's how we got up to over 60. So we kind of slowed, and I slowed that down. And I think that's an important point, y'all. Like if you slow down, so do the leads. And also, you know what slows down is if the leads don't, and then you just start dropping the ball, you'll burn your name as soon as you got the name. So be careful with that. I really started to kind of pace down a little bit, just because I didn't have the staff to support everything I had coming in.
Yeah.
But dude, there were some months last year, dude, I was quoting like $1 million of premium in a month on like it was ridiculous. I'm like, oh, now granted, I didn't close all of that, obviously.
Yeah.
But the ability to even quote that again from a Facebook group, guys. Like, I mean, literally, it's that simple. As long as you're active, and you're leading with value and education. I know it's simple. I know it's cliche, but man, does it freaking work. And it's literally our entire business. Like everything has come from that. So.
Dude, that's crazy. So any industry you're a part of, apply this, and you could blow up seriously and get a lot of organic reach for sure. Yep. Kind of coming in for a landing here. What's being an entrepreneur, being young? You're 27, 28.
Just turned 28 like 3 weeks ago.
Yep. Yeah, 28. Being 28, dude. What's like some of the biggest things that like you would tell a young person like why they should be an entrepreneur? Like what, like they're scared, they come to you like nervous, they're like, hey, I got big dreams, I'm trying to start my own business, 18, 19, 20, whatever. They come to you and they're like, Joe, I really want to, I don't know. Like, What would you say to them? Like, what are some encouraging things or some motivational things you would say?
That's good. So first thing first, I'm gonna circle back around to what Pop said to me. That was profound to me. Is that, hey, where they all start, like they started in garages and basements and stuff like that, right? Because they just believed in themselves and they were okay being uncomfortable. So anybody new, right? Especially if you are passionate, and that is something if you're not passionate, like, and you can tell if you're passionate about something. If you're passionate, pursue it, right? And even if it's uncomfortable, again, the Bill Gates of this world were not made in their comfort zones. So if it's uncomfortable, dude, you're probably doing something right. You're probably onto something, which then kind of segues into don't give up. Dude, don't give up. And sometimes, I think a lot of people, what I've learned is that, dude, it doesn't make it a bad idea. Just sometimes it's the wrong time, right? And so sometimes but if it's the wrong time, they scrap the whole thing. And for me, this has been really, I mean, it's kind of turning into my word for 2022. It's pivot. Don't scrap it. Don't recede back, right, and become a hermit and like never want to try anything else again. Just pivot, man. Make a lateral move, right? Like you don't have to scrap the whole thing. And then, another thing Pops, told me is that, we are not defined by don't be defined by your failures. If anything, you're learning, right? And that's fail forwards, right? Get back up. And again, I know a lot of what I talk about but I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it enough. Like be uncomfortable. Dude, pivot if you need to. And another word for that is like, for me, if I ever started feeling burnout or I started feeling defeated, whatever that was, dude, I just changed my pace. I went and ran in a different direction, right? Or maybe I ran a little bit harder into one segment of what I was trying to do. And that's, I think with entrepreneurs, that can be tough, especially building a business. When you're working in the business and on the business too, That's a lot. You got a lot going
Yeah,
on.
dude, seriously.
And so that would be, some of the, I would say, the mentality things. And then my last bit, dude, the faster that you can get people, the better. I can't tell you how much our agency changed when we started bringing on like service managers and trainers, and allowing us to really kind of not necessarily 100% remove from the business, right? But being able to work on the business, on the big picture, on the big idea, which is why a lot of us are even starting the business in the first place. We see the big picture. And I tell you, people, dude, it's not an expense. It is an investment in your business, and spend the money. Even if you got to go, and I hate to say it, man, but like, even if you got to go get some money, go get a loan, whatever. And I know some people frown on that. To me, it's, dude, if I knew what I did today back when we first started Redwood, I would have started with staff and just really just bit the bullet out the gate. Because it changed everything when we started being able to delegate tasks. So those would be my pieces.
Dude, that's so good. This was a really awesome podcast, man. It was so easy to talk to, man.
We could keep going, dude. We could keep going.
Seriously, bro, seriously. And I love what you said. Like literally showed us, gave us a layout quick, how to like really grow through social media, how to scale, how to gain referral partners, all this stuff, how to grow your agency or even just your business by bringing people in, engaging with them. I think it's awesome, dude. So I really appreciate you coming on, man. Again, how could people reach out to you one more time if they loved what they heard?
Yeah. Hit me up on Facebook. That's where I live there. My wife is a little salty about that, but dude, I'm on Facebook all the time. So message me. Check me out on the Insurance Syndicate. And then also, if you want, you can contact us through our website as well, redwoodagencygroup.com. And you can reach us there. We're in Austin, Texas, but we're all over the country. And so, especially anybody in insurance, you ever want to pick my brain, I'm totally open to it. Really, I'm open to talking with anybody, because what did we talk about behind scenes? It's, hey, your network is your net worth, man. And social media will put you in front of a network. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, I love it. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on. Man. If you're still listening, I really appreciate you just tuning in to this. If you haven't already, go hit that, go crush the subscribe button, like, comment what your favorite part was, how this helped you practically. And if you want to go from unknown to unforgettable, just go crush it, go keep going. Like, just don't stop, don't quit. Just from Joe Kampert, he said it, if you never quit, you can never fail. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Go hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll tune back for more. Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Thank you.